Discussing both sides of an argument is a common task on the IELTS Writing Task 2 exam. In this type of prompt, you will be given a statement or a point of view and asked to present both the positive and negative aspects of the argument. For example, the prompt may state, "Some people argue that the government should provide free education for all citizens, while others argue that this is not a practical solution." Discuss both sides of the argument. In this case, your task would be to present both the arguments for and against the government providing free education for all citizens. On the one hand, supporters of the idea argue that providing free education for all citizens would increase access to education, especially for low-income individuals and families. This would ultimately lead to a more educated workforce and a more prosperous society. Additionally, supporters argue that education is a basic human right and that it is the government's responsibility to ensure that all citizens have access to it. On the other hand, opponents of the idea argue that providing free education for all citizens would be too costly and would place a strain on government finances. They argue that this money would be better spent on other areas such as healthcare and infrastructure. Additionally, opponents argue that not everyone may value education and therefore, it may be a waste of resources to provide it to them. In this example, you would need to present both sides of the argument in your essay and explain the reasons for each viewpoint. It is also important to make sure that you are balanced and impartial when presenting each side of the argument and to not show bias. In your conclusion, you can state your own opinion on the topic, but it is not mandatory. It is important to present both sides of the argument and explain the reasoning behind each viewpoint.